Paul, how did you get into astrology?
I mean, right back from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I have to give thanks. By the way, Rob Werner, if you ever get to see this, thank you very much. Bless your heart. I had a physics professor in university come to astrology class, come to physics class with an astrology book on top of his physics book, and I rather gave him a hard time about it for the whole class, and he crossed his arms over his chest and said, "Reader, I'll treat you on this subject same way I do physics, and that is, I won't talk to you about it while you're ignorant." So he kind of poked me right in my intellectual arrogance. Anyways, that started it.
Oh, excellent. How has astrology impacted your life, both personally and as a career?
Wow, that's a big question. I make a living doing it, so I don't have to get a job. That's cool. Definitely not a 9-to-5er.
Excellent.
But what I noticed in the beginning, and it's hard to say when I figured this out, because the bottom line is astrology changed how I think altogether. It added a more intuitive process, a way. I get astrology is a language that taught me how to think intelligently but intuitively but intelligently. Yeah. So I think it's totally altered how I think, how I perceive things. Lets me make a living. I'm of service to people doing it. I don't know. I love astrology. It's changed my life.
What fascinates you about it, and how would you define it?
Well, first off, let's see. What fascinates me is that it works. That it works. In the beginning, I couldn't believe that it worked, that it would work, that it could work. And then I saw it working. I was doing charts and seeing the correlations between the charts and people's lives. And it really disturbed me. It bothered me. I had to try to understand, how is this working? Why is it working? And while 25 plus years later, I can't tell you how it works or why it works, but boy, I've given it a lot of thought. But I think it's done me a lot of good to think about it.
And how would you define it? Like, if somebody said, "What is astrology?"
It's a language. It's a coherent system of symbols, each of which is endowed with meaning, but when they combine together, they create complete thoughts. But it's a language, most of the languages that we have in common are rational languages. They work in a linear fashion. They serve the part of our mind.
Hold that thought. Okay, go for it.
Most of the languages that we have in common as a community, like say mathematics, arithmetic, and English, serve the linear mind, the rational mind, the mind that works by dissecting reality into the bits and focusing on the bits and studying the bits. And our culture has become a dissecting culture. But astrology and any other system of divination is going to operate, it's going to serve the part of our intelligence that that doesn't separate parts from each other, but sees them together, connects them together, weaves them together. The intuitive intelligence has been long neglected, I think, in modern history, in our community, in our universities. The intuitive intelligence, but astrology and divination systems in general provide us a systematic way that we can access that part of our intelligence that perceives the connections and the relationships between things and resolves them into a whole. And that's what I think is lacking. I mean, here we are, we're living in a society where the rational mind is dominant. We create amazing machines and then fail to notice or care about the impact they have in the world around us. I think we're living in an era where the rational mind is out of balance too much, and we need to bring the intuitive mind back, and astrology is one of the ways in which we can do that.